When I last left off, I was poisoned by two men who came into my house. They exclaimed that they were from a group called the Company. They knew everything that was going on about me. The door, just everything. They poisoned me and forced me to join their group. The next stuff I will be talking about is what happened after I awoke from the poison. I began to slowly regain consciousness, but my body was still numb from the poison. I began to open my eyes. My hearing was slowly coming back to me. The younger man that was with the older gentleman wound up his hand to the right side of his body and attempted to slap the left side of my face. Without thinking, my arm went up and blocked his hand, grabbing his wrist before contact. The younger man spoke. "Looks like we got ourselves a live one over here. Nice to see you're awake." He wound up his left hand and hit me across the right side of my face. The younger gentleman got close to my face, so close I could smell the stench of his cigarettes off his breath. He told me, "That's for grabbing my hand, you rat." "Where the fuck am I, you prick?" is what I attempted to say, but all that came out was a jumble of slurred nonsense. He yelled at me, "Shut your fucking mouth and let me speak. I don't give a shit if the higher-ups are interested in you. Speak to me in that tone, I'll be sure to put a round right between your eyes." The older gentleman appeared out of nowhere and smacked the back of the young gentleman's head. He said, "Calm yourself, boy. Enough hazing the new recruit. The first time you raised your gun to an enemy, you've directly pissed yourself." The younger man piped up, "That was a long time ago, and you know it." The young man started to throw insults at the older gentleman until he was swiftly silenced by the sound of a radio on the older man's side. "Hey, how's the new recruit doing? Is he awake? Have you done any tests on him?" I piped up and finally able to say some comprehensible sentence. "What the hell do you mean tests? Where am I?" The old gentleman piped up and said to me, "You need to relax, kid. There's nothing to worry about. If we wanted you dead, we would have just left you to die after we poisoned you. Luckily for you, the company needs new recruits, which means you'll be undergoing tests. These do not involve testing your body with needles or anything scary like that. Instead, you'll be fighting against the monsters." The older man walked up to me and stuck a needle in my arm. I could feel my mind clear. I felt all my motor functions come back to me. He then proceeded to untie me, letting me know that everything was okay and that I needed to prepare to fight. "You really thought it was going to be that easy to join the group, you paramecium brain. Just because you've been living amongst monsters doesn't mean that you're going to join the group that easily. Honestly, I'm not even sure that you aren't one of them, with the way you get along with the creatures on the land. Now, stand the hell up and move forward," said the younger man. "All right," I told them. "If it was to keep the people of my town and the happy creatures on my land safe, I would do anything for them. I have to show them my worth. Even though they drugged me and brought me here, they're the best bet at me getting rid of that gate completely from our world." They moved me out of the dark room where we were in, and down a long dark corridor. It appeared that we were underground, due to the walls being darkish, stonish looking color, with dust and dirt coming off of it. Small dim lights lined the top of the corridor we were walking down. It seemed to be almost 20 minutes that we were walking. That's when I could hear it. The sounds of scratching, close to the sound of nails on the chalkboard. Moans and groans echoed more and more closer when we got to the end of the corridor. I knew that what was coming, but I didn't expect I'd be fighting this quickly. I asked them both where we were headed, and what I'd be facing forward. The younger gentleman piped up and said, "Monsters, you rat! What else would it be?" He knew what I was asking. I wanted specifics, and it was clear that he wouldn't be giving any. I looked at the older man, and his expression was blank. It was clear he wasn't going to be a talkative mood either. After a couple more minutes of walking, we finally reached it. A room with a massive pit. It looked like an apocalyptic thunderdome. Cages were around the entirety of it, and monsters I could have never even imagined were inside. Growling, howling, and snarling, screeching and screaming almost in human tongue. I understood why he wouldn't give me any specifics. Any person in their right mind would attempt to run and flee, but for me, I had to just get back home. The odds of me beating both of them, making it out, is a slim chance. I find an exit is low. They walked me down a set of stairs and let me take a weapon I'd like in any armory that they had set aside. I grabbed a Glock, a knife, and a pair of spiked brass knuckles. The selection of weapons were low. I asked them about it. "You guys really want me to die, huh? With a selection like this?" The older man looked me in the eyes and told me, "You don't realize you have one of the greatest weapons someone could ask for in a fight like this." After that, a gate opened and what I could see was Charles sitting there on the floor, drawing in the dusty dirt. He looked up and ran up and wrapped his little wooden twig arms around my leg, refusing to let go. I realized what he was trying to say after my reunion with Charles. The older man spoke up. With your friend's abilities, he should be able to help you plenty well in combat. This is why we want you in the company. With your enhancing abilities and abilities to befriend these creatures. He's your familiar, don't you understand? Now use him. Around me, the room began to fill with moans and groans and the creatures behind the gates. I could hear the younger man counting. 1, 2, 3! Release the undead! A group of undead creatures began to crawl on the floor, on all fours towards me, while a group of them stumbled towards Charles. I lifted my knife up and stabbed directly down the undead's head. Its body dropped limp. I looked up to see one of the undead limping towards Charles while I yelled at him, "Come on, little buddy, make a wall!" A wall of thorns and sharp sticks began to rise to the ground, piercing the limp undead that was approaching him. Nice job, little buddy. Now don't stop now. Another's coming around the wall. Charles used his thorns to stretch out and pierce the other undead's head that were after him. I almost forgot for a second some were coming towards me. One got close to me. I could smell the stench of its rotting breath. I cocked my fist back and propelled it directly into its head. I could feel that my hand had made contact with its bone and its skull. It smashed against the ground, leaving nothing but a dead husk. I quickly ran over to Charles and picked him up, put him on my shoulder. There were 5 unopened cages, each one after the other sounding more and more vicious. I could hear the young man scream, "Let's fucking go, man! Maybe I'm wrong about you after all. Sorry, I gotta do this to you, but I always wanted to say this. Fetch me their souls!" Howls echoed behind the gate. I knew it was coming. An army of black dogs with pure white eyes charged at us. Charles attempted to use his wall of thorns again, but they jumped over it. I whipped my hand forward and shot 6 rounds into 2 of the 3 hounds. 4 shots connected in total. They dropped to the floor. The last final dog lunged at me. I lifted my arm and protected my face from its grasp. It bit down as I lunged my blade into its chest, slicing upwards against its torso. It yelped in pure agony as I slammed it against the floor. I held my arm out to Charles. He knew what to do. He began to bandage my arm with leaves sprouted from his hands. I looked at the men and told them, "Is that all you fucking got? You're gonna need a lot more of that to be able to take us down." The older man looked down at me and shook his head. "It gets a lot more difficult from here, kid." I looked forward as the next gate opened up, and what was inside was a massive spider with baby's face. It opened up and revealed teeth lining inside of its mouth. Hellish screams came from its mouth. It was clear to me at this point there was not going to be any going back to a normal life after this.